Howdy folks, welcome to Kerbal Space Program 2. I thought I'd make a video on this. I had a lot of fun with the original. I don't think I ever did any videos on it. I might have streamed it on Twitch back in the day. I don't remember. But I've had this since it came out, and I made, I think, one video on it, the second version. And it just wasn't really in a good place. It's pretty buggy. There wasn't really anything to do. But since the science update has come out, there is stuff to do. So we're going to hop on and do a little bit of science. And if you want to see more of this, let me know. Give it a thumbs up, leave a comment. We'll kind of see how the reception is. I might go ahead and do like a mini series. We shall see. But we're going to hop in and do an exploration game mode here, normal difficulty. And we got the spare parts space agency ready to rock. So let's get started. Here we are at the Kerbal Space Center. It's lovely. And you can see the graphics are a pretty big improvement over the original version. So that's kind of cool. This is still under development, and it's still quite buggy, but we're going to try to have some fun with it. So if we go to the R&D Center, there's a tech tree here. We need to unlock stuff so we can do more cool things. We just start out with a handful of components, just enough to kind of get up in the air. And you can see we don't have any science points to spend. So to get science points, we want to go over to Mission Control. And we got the first one here, launch a rocket. So we just need to launch a rocket and get to at least 10 kilometers altitude. That should be pretty straightforward. So we're going to go ahead and track that. And I don't know if you have to go through the mission brief or not. I'm not going to really read all this. It's just a bunch of telling you how to do things. Nobody needs that. So we're going to go over to the VAB, Vehicle Assembly Building. We're going to throw together a quick little vehicle just to grab some initial science. So for all of that, we just need a pod. And we're going to hop right out to the launch. And I'm just going to grab a little extra science here before we even get into the air. So you can see our little beaker over here is flashing. That means there is an experiment we can do. So I'm going to click that. And it'll just automatically do the needful. So grab some data. We've got 4 science there. And then you'll notice here it says go outside. So we can also hop out. Hop off the ladder there. There we go. There's a little guy. Who is that? Does it say? Doesn't say. All right, we can do some science, so we'll click that. And he's going to take a little surface sample there of the concrete. That'll just give us a little bit of extra science before we even get started. So you can see we're up to 10 now, so it was an extra 6 science. So we'll hop back in, and then we're just going to go and recover. Then we'll go right back to the VAB. Now we need to make something that'll go up in the air, because that's the idea here. So we've got our small pod. It holds one little Kerbal. And then on the top of that, we're going to throw a parachute, because we want to survive when we come back down. And then we need to have a decoupler so we can just bring this back down to the ground. And then we're going to throw that on there. And I think that should be enough. That should do it. Just double check our staging here. So first stage, the rocket's going to fire. Next stage, the decoupler will fire and get rid of the lower stage. Then the next is arming our parachute. So I think we're ready to go. We don't really need to save this guy, so we'll just launch it. Here we are. I'll do the countdown this first time. Usually I skip it. And Bill Kerman is headed into the sky. He's excited. Look how excited he is. I'm going to head out so we go out over the ocean. And you can see our apoapse here is 15 kilometers. So that should be more than enough height. So we're slowing down quite a bit due to friction. So we'll get just a little bit of power back on. There we go. We have successfully completed the mission. Now, this is our steering control, basically. So I'm going to tell him to keep facing retrograde. Which right now is up because we're going up in an arch. So if I pull up the map here, zoom in. See, we took off. We're just making an arch up, and then we're going to splash down in the ocean. So I'm going to go ahead and hit quick save. Standard F5 for quick save, F9 for quick load. So there are occasionally bugs with this. Going back down. Well, we got all this fuel here, so we might as well just burn that off. Grab some science while we're up here in the air. And then we're going to kick that loose. And I'm just going to tell him to lock in the orientation, and we're going to fall back down. Not sure why I can't. There we go. Couldn't move the camera at first. And then I'm going to go ahead and arm the parachute. The parachutes have been a little buggy. We're going to see if it hangs in there. I've had some issues with them just disappearing. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the stability system and just let it hang from the parachute and do its own aerodynamic thing. And this parachute was programmed to fully open at 1 kilometer. So as we get down here, it will fully open up right about now. There we have it. We'll go ahead and speed up time. And we'll splash down in the ocean, and then we'll grab a little more science from the ocean while we're bobbing around in there. It's all about the science. You can see we're up to 28. You always want to be in normal speed when you're going to be interacting with anything physics-wise. It can get a little weird. All right, where's Bill? There he is. Splash. You can see there's the science center, or not the science, the space center right off in the distance. All right, we got some even more science. And again, it's got the red things. Just go outside. So we can do an EVA. And old Bill can go for a swim here. We'll grab some of that ocean water. Don't drink it, Bill. Alright, then we can head back over here. Oops, get back in the... Alright, grab a hold and then board. And there we go. Then we can recover the vessel. Back to the Space Center. And if we go over to mission control, we can get our science. So we're going to submit that mission report. Welcome back. Dr. Carey is going to go through all her stuff that I don't care about. Thanks, science. All right, we're up to 85 science. Excellent. We'll go see what we can unlock. So our next challenge is out of the atmosphere. So we need to get up greater than 70 kilometers. So that's up into space, technically. So we'll do track. I'm going to go through the mission brief. Just because I'm not sure if you need to, but... Let's see, so if we head back over to the R&D Center, now we have some science to spend. The first thing we have to do is this one to get unlocks the rest of the tree. So we get a bigger engines, a bigger fuel tank, some other stuff there. We'll research that. And then one of the things I like to unlock first is the Science Junior. It's basically an experiment bay. And that lets us get even more science. So I like to have that unlocked. And what else do we want? Let's get some solid fuel, sure. And let's go ahead and might do some probes later, but more importantly, this gets us a solar panel, a battery that we can use later. And then we have 40 left, so let's go ahead and get these unlocked. This is a nice engine for up in the vacuum. And we get a bigger solid fuel booster. And we have 15 left, so I don't know we really need any of this stuff, technically, but we'll go ahead and get some bigger fins. All right, and then we'll go back to the VAB. Now I need to build a little bit bigger rocket. Doesn't have to be a whole lot bigger. But we'll go ahead and just do our standard build here. Plop that on there. Now, one difference is, oh, I didn't get the other parachute yet, so I don't necessarily want to use the Science Junior, because it's heavy enough that I don't think this one parachute will support it. So that's no big deal. So it's going to be pretty much the same rocket. We just need to go a little bit higher. And I think this will get us up there. And we're going to use the old swivel. Is that going to be enough? Let's throw one of these on just in case. And there we have it. Let's just double check our staging. Yep, we're going to fire, decouple, and then we'll arm our parachute. That ought to do it. That ought to get us up to 70 kilometers. So let's go ahead and launch. Whee! Nose over a little bit here so we end up in the ocean. And these engines we can throttle, so I'm going to keep it about around 300 meters per second. Just until we get into the thinner atmosphere. You can see our 3 atmosphere ranges and then space. Just so we're not fighting so much air friction. It's wasting fuel. Okay, we're up into this middle area, so we're going to go ahead and start blasting. This will hopefully be enough. It's going to be a little close. I'm glad I stuck that extra fuel tank on there. So there we go. Our apoapse down here is our highest orbit point. You can see it's at 77 kilometers. It's fallen a little bit just because of we're still in the atmosphere. We're still getting a little bit of drag. And then our periapse is negative, so we will be impacting the planet. We don't have an orbit. Let's go ahead and time accelerate on up. We'll keep an eye on our science here. We're going to be going quite a bit higher, so I think once we get technically into space, we should be able to do some more science. Almost there. There we go. There's our science. Kerbal in low orbit. So we got that. Oop, not quite that fast. All right, then we're going to just be falling back down. We'll use this little bit of fuel left. Slow down. We'll go retrograde. So we got 587 delta V. This gets up to around 1,000. We'll kick the rockets on just to help slow down. We don't have heat shields yet, so we don't want to be going too fast. Bleed off some of that speed. Then that stage is done, so kick her loose. Now we're starting to get into some thicker air. Hopefully that'll keep us from getting too fast. I'm going to go ahead and hit quick save, just in case something goes terribly wrong. It's been known to go terribly wrong before. Yeah, we're starting to hit that thick area. Our speed is lowering pretty quickly. I'm not sure what deployment speed for the parachute is. I know there's a limit. I think it was 247. I don't know if that means for full deployment or... Okay, we're going to have to chance it because we're starting to speed up again. So when it goes into like drogue shoot mode here, it'll slow us down. I think we're good. And then it's programmed to fully open at 1,000 meters, like I mentioned before. So since we went up further, we were coming back down further, so we gained a little bit of speed. Look at those clouds. Time for a quick F12. We should get full deployment right at 1,000 meters, and boom. All right, awesome. That gets our speed right down. There's a bug. It keeps showing that unless you mouse over it. Bill's happy. He made it back. Zoom in enough. We can see him in there. Alright, let's kick that back to normal speed. And then we've already gathered science from the ocean, so I don't think we can get any more science out here. Just splash down and then we'll recover the vessel. There we go. And we'll head back over to the Space Center. Now if I go to R&D, I want the survivability is what I want. That gets us our heat shield and then the other parachute, which is quite nice. And we have 14 left over, so I guess you have to, I think, unlock all this to go to the next stage, so we'll just go ahead and grab that. Why not? And we have 4 science left. Although I forgot to turn this in, so we actually have more science. Another 50 science. Alright, so the next big step is to orbit Kerbin. So we have to get up and orbit. And that's a little more substantial than just bopping up in the air and coming back down. So we'll see about that in the next episode. If you want to see more, let me know. We will continue on down this path of heading into space. So if I was going to go to orbit, I think I want these for the solid boosters. Let's grab that. We don't really need struts. I mean, that'll get us into space for sure. We might want actually struts to stabilize the boosters. So there we go. That should be plenty to get us into an orbit. No problem. Thanks as always for watching, folks. I'll catch you in the next adventure. Take care.